My name is Skyler, and I'm incredibly nervous right now, so I'll attempt to maintain a normal breathing rhythm. When I was 19, I was wrongly evicted from my home under false pretenses. I lived in a small town with a couple of really prominent last names, and I didn't have one of them. So when she was ready to have her mother-in-law move into, my landlord have her mother-in-law move into my home, she had us removed wrongly. I did what I could at the time and slept in my truck and slept on friends' couches, tried to keep my job, which is really hard to do when you don't have stable housing. It's only a matter of time before an issue with your vehicle or a scheduling confliction or a hygiene issue or any number of things conflict with your ability to be an employable person. So I did what I could and held on to jobs for as long as I possibly could, which wasn't a long time overall. There were a couple of times I was able to sublease from another person, which is a really sticky situation also because you have very little legal standing. I am aware of my renters' rights, but whether or not they really apply when it comes down to it, I don't have the money to go fight you in civil court, and they know that most of the time. I found out I was pregnant in August of 2020, shortly after I turned 21. My husband and I stayed with my mother-in-law for a short while. We stayed with friends as we could, but when you're that dependent on who you're staying with, you overstay your welcome in a short time, and it puts a strain on your relationships with people. We just spent a lot of time driving around. It's a constant stressor. You can't relax. You're always trying to figure out where you can go next, how long you can stay there, if or when you can prepare food. There's just no relaxation, and I remember spending a lot of time wishing I could go home and crawl up into bed and just be sad for a while, but I didn't even have that. We came across Catch on the Idaho Mutual Aid Facebook group and gave them a call, and we were placed on their wait list. A couple months after that, I was hospitalized for preterm labor due to prolonged stress, which ultimately was a blessing at the time because the hospital had a roof. So we were okay with that, and I managed to keep Jax in till I was 33 weeks along on bed rest, and he came out at a healthy 9 pounds, 1 ounce at 33 weeks, so he could have come early if he wanted to. In August of 2021, we were called and told that we had reached the top of the wait list, and we were ready to start doing the groundwork. Catch helped us overcome that eviction I had on my record. The roadblock I was running into wasn't that I was an unemployable person. I'm not somebody who suffers from debilitating mental illness. I'm not a drug addict. I don't have a lengthy criminal record. I had an eviction, and property management companies don't even want to look at you regardless of what the circumstances are. So Catch helped me build those skills to advocate for myself. We wrote a letter to prospective landlords explaining the circumstances of my eviction and what had really happened there, and started having conversations with people. And on August 14th, I received the keys to my apartment. We were so thrilled. We were so excited to just have somewhere to call home, somewhere out of the cold or out of the hot, whatever season it was. And it was so beautiful. We had floor-to-ceiling windows. It was just gorgeous. Like, it was more than I could have possibly asked for. That was such a relief to finally get in there. 2 weeks after being housed, my husband was arrested for domestic violence and passed away a short time after that, which left us again in this position of we had this relief of this house, but now I have a rent bill that's due, and I have a new baby and no car and no job. My husband was my source of income up until that point. And Catch held my hand through every step of the way. We continued to have our weekly check-ins. We continued to meet with each other about our goals for the program. I got a job about a week later as an assistant infant teacher at a daycare so I could bring my son, who was only 4 or 5 months old at the time, to work with me. And I quickly progressed to director. I was the director of the child care center for the last 3 years. Catch really gave me the opportunity to turn my life around. They gave me that foundation so that I could do something more. Since I graduated from Catch, I've gotten my GED. I went back to school and I got my CPC for medical coding, and I'm currently pursuing my bachelor's in accounting. I started that in May, and I'm about 40% done with that. We've obtained our own housing since Catch. After graduating the program, I was able to independently advocate for myself to landlords, and we've actually moved since our housing with Catch, and we're coming up on our 3-year anniversary in that home as well. My son was being treated for bilateral club feet when we were first working with Catch, and his surgeries and treatments have been a total success, and he's so healthy, and I'm just so grateful that I could even keep up on his medical care. Like, that's something that you can't do if you have a home. So really everything that I have been able to accomplish up till now is all thanks to Catch and the work that they do. And I really can't thank them and their supporters enough for what they've done for my family and what I know they do for so many others.
Skyler, I hope you breathed at the end, because you started out at this really nice, slow pace, and I almost was like, uh-oh, if I don't get up there and stop her, she might hyperventilate. We are so deeply grateful for the courage of being here with us today to tell that story and a witness to all the courage that you have displayed and your strength through this. Thank you. Friends, I hope that you heard Skyler's story. We have heard stories each and every year from amazing people. And after worship, someone said to me, Andrew, are we doing the Avenues for Hope thing? You haven't said much. And I said, oh, I get annoying afterwards as I remind you, as we jump up and down on this moral arc together. So I hope after worship you go back. There will be like 4 Catch employees back there with laptops to help facilitate donations. I love the idea of making different donations in people's names. And so if you would like to do that, I think that's the double gift and spreads the word